Secretary of HUD.
Ones that will come against any kind of illegal discrimination. It's not prohibited here. Focus on our mission, Brett. What obtaining the law?
Not prohibited here. Obtaining the law. What in the poorly educated is going
They're all from there.
have a literacy test for these people?
Yes. Chandra, Tyler, Freeman,
Ones that will come
Huff,
against
and Reggie
any
Clark.
kind of illegal discrimination. It's not prohibited here.
Good morning.
Good morning and welcome to Let It Be Known News. I am Stacy Brown, and this is the morning show for Black Press USA.
Good morning. I'm Niele, and I'm producing, and I am co-hosting. Let it be known. And I'm talking to possible guests so we can amplify these voices of these stories that are impacting the Black experience.
Look, she hosted and producing at the same time, and booking and all that stuff. I tell you what, you give a Black woman a pen, and she gonna write a novel for sure.
You know, that this is just what we do. You know, we're still on the fence about saving America, but for sure we're gonna save Black folks as the best,
Let me tell you,
as best as possible.
as best as possible. Yeah, it's funny you say that, saving America. I saw, I'm always seeing these memes and whatever, like everybody else. And I
Mhm.
saw somebody post a picture of the president and said,
Uh-oh.
and said, how is it that we are all watching one man destroy America? And so you say saving America, and I saw that, and then, I mean, this post, it was on I think Instagram. It got like a couple of million likes and all that stuff and
Uh-huh.
engagement. And there are so many people who feel that way, even folks who thought, hey, he's my guy. So, oh my gosh. And how about that? Obtaining the law. My man said it, obtaining the law. That is, when you think about how they say stuff, don't think, folks, for one moment that they are misspeaking
Mhm.
intentionally. You got to catch what they're saying. It's all the devil is always in the details.
Right, exactly. Oh, that's
Ones that will
Charles
come
Blow.
against any kind of illegal discrimination. It's not prohibited here. We're focused on our mission, Brett. We're obtaining the law.
Not prohibited here.
Right.
Obtaining the law. What in the poorly educated is going on here? Do they even have a literacy test for these people? This is the secretary of HUD.
Ones that will come against.
Not prohibited. That listen, Keith Boykins is a very intelligent man, and he's always on point. But don't give these guys the benefit of the doubt that that was a mistake when he said uh, obtaining the law. They are writing in their minds and in their actions their own laws, right?
Yeah, and
Not
that was Charles.
prohibited.
Uh-huh.
It's I'm sorry, but not prohibited. He meant that.
Right,
That wasn't a
right,
misspeak.
right. Yeah, that was Charles Blow,
Charles
author
Blow. I
and
said
political
Keith Boykins. I'm
commentator.
sorry.
We actually went to Grambling together and we worked on the Grambling Night newspaper together.
We
And
all look
so
alike.
and so to see Charles just, being, standing on his post and being at the forefront of, amplifying these messages, is really refreshing to see.
Yeah, well,
Um,
because you usually read it. Charles usually puts it in the column.
mhm.
So that
He
is
also
you're
wrote a
right.
book. He also wrote a book about the Great Migration, as we're talking about building Black political power. The book, well, I think it was Fire Shut Up in My Bones, but the book was about people going back and migrating down south so that we could build our political power and have more stay in a centralized location instead of being spread out. Now, I don't know if that's something to reconsider as we look at what's happening with our government, the federal government, so to say. But that's something to think about as we think about segregation and desegregation and what the administration is doing. Maybe we should populate more together to build our political power. What do you think about that?
I just think it's time to pick another lane. It's time to just listen. I would, Claudette Perry is the executive administrator of the Black Press and NPA, and she says she's going home later this month or early next month. She won't be reachable, whatever. Home is Ghana, right? She's like, I'm because she has multiple citizenships, and she's been encouraging everybody to do the same. I think that's probably one of the best solutions I've heard.
Go back to Africa? Is that home?
Well, you understand. Well, to her, yes. I mean, she has citizenship there.
Oh,
She's
in what country?
Ghana.
Okay.
She's one of those individuals long, 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 long before this craziness, you know, had dual citizenship. And, she's one of them wise ones who knew like 20, 30, 40 years before all of this that something like this was coming. And she explains a lot. You got to talk to her. She explains a lot how comfortable she is when she goes, to Ghana, and has always been. And I believe she has a place there. Um, she's she does her thing. And the thing about it, it's like she's one of those individuals who she don't play around with with her blackness. You know, she's good. This stuff is a lot of and you know the appropriate term is white noise. It's a lot
Right.
of noise.
Okay. So
Yeah.
she's an expat. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was just having a conversation with one of my Gremlin nights, speaking of Charles blowing Gremlin. And she was like, I was talking about, thinking about dual citizen or being a world citizen. And she was like, I am absolutely not going back to Africa. I don't know nothing about that.
That's the word I was looking for. I'm sorry, world citizen. That's her. Go ahead.
She was like, I'm not interested. But then I have another friend that I went to Gremlin with, and about 10 years ago, she is a wine curator. She moved to South Africa 10 years ago, and she just hit me up and was like, you need to come and visit. I got an extra room. So I see a lot of people that are taking the trend to go back to the motherland, and they're loving it.
Hmm. Yeah, and like I said, in her case, this is not new. This is something, you know, and there are a lot of black folks, to Gria's point,
That have
that
went.
that have done that, gotten that dual citizenship. Um, Remember Stevie Wonder got his about a year or so ago.
Mhm.
Khalees, you see Khalees out there. Khalees out there with a garden in Africa. You know, her milkshake is bringing all the Africans to the yard now.
But I definitely would consider that. I'm not afraid. I definitely want to go to the motherland. I've never been. And I would definitely want to go in December. You heard about Dirty December. Have you heard of Dirty December?
No, you go ahead and tell me about it.
Oh, you don't know? So now in the month of December, everybody goes and floods Ghana, particularly Nigeria, and they just spend the whole month of December partying from sun up to sundown. It's the new
Oh,
trend for December to go
wow.
go home to the motherland
So,
to Dirty
so,
December.
so you should tell Orange G, forget about Freaknik and do Dirty December because he's like
Well,
one of your
Freaknik is springtime,
yeah,
so
I
he can
know.
do both.
Oh, he can do both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Freaknik is springtime. It's coming up
Okay.
in April. I went to Freaknik when it was popping, like in 92, 93. What a
That well,
time, what a
yeah.
time. And there were no video cameras. So don't nobody got nothing on well, it was video cameras, but no cell phones.
He says he remembers when Stevie walked right up to the drums and started playing them. He said, "I know Stevie Wonder can see." Oh man, I tell you. Listen, so yesterday, Black Press USA had the pool at the White House. April Ryan, of course, our bureau chief, Washington bureau chief, White House bureau chief as well, and I had the I won't use the word pleasure, but we had the assignment of
Hmm.
hosting the pool. It's the first time for Black Press USA to have the White House pool, and milestone, of course, 198 years of the Black Press, and here we are. We have the pool. We had the pool yesterday, um, and oh gosh, and
Okay, I want
so
to hear about this.
uh, so I've been to a lot of White Houses. I've been well. Let me rephrase that. I've been to the White House under the. I think I maybe there once when Clinton was president. May have uh, gotten a chance, I believe, if I remember correctly, when Bush was in, of course, when Obama, the first Trump administration, and now this administration. And the White House looks totally different than what you can even imagine. And I say,
What do you
look,
mean?
the
Okay, the
feel
feel. Okay.
is so you know you have walked into a place. I'm gonna tell you this, I'm gonna say this. Um, I think about sundown towns, and I felt like I was in a sundown
Mm, mm.
town. And then you
Explain to
had
folks who don't know what a sundown town is.
the
Let's just
sundown
set the
town.
tone.
Yeah, it's one of those places where Black folks in the South, particularly, were not allowed to be after a certain hour. So you had to, otherwise you could be lynched, particularly by the police. And just think about the connection I'm making here, because all you have in the White House, you have more law enforcement than anywhere. So
Right.
just think about that. And this is no shade to the Secret Service. Those guys were they have always been pleasant. I have not had a unpleasant encounter with a Secret Service officer in all the times I've gone to the White House. They've always been very, very, um, accommodating, et cetera, et cetera. So no shade
Mm-hmm.
at all to them. But I tell
Right.
you, so you have the room was overly packed, but you had probably more than half of the press corps was far right, bloggers, far right news organizations. In fact, when the press secretary was talking about um, the so-called illegal immigrants that they had wrestled up and shipped off. They were showing on the screen there, which is extremely rare. They had two screens up,
Uh-huh.
articles about these guys from the New York Post, Rupert Murdoch, Fox News,
Okay.
um, and they were calling them all types of criminals, and some of the reporters who are not on the far right was asking, well, do in some cases these people don't have a criminal record, and the response was just incredible. The response was like, do you wait until they called them animals, they called them whatever types of people commit sexual assault, uh, or do this and do that. I mean, it was just, I don't want to go too far, as Greer says, but it's just not what it used to be. And I'm telling you, even the first Trump administration, going to the White House was not a chore in his first administration. You
Mm-hmm.
might disagree with Donald Trump in his first administration, whatever, um, but the people were even different.
Mm.
Um, for the most part, I found very few unpleasant individuals in that first Trump White House. You could talk to people
Right.
like humans. They talk to you like you. This is a robotic, uh, listen, I'm kind of censoring myself, y'all. But here's one thing that happened, and we have a clip of this. But this was what you're about to see pretty much encapsulate what I'm really trying to tell you, especially about the right wing media and how they kowtow to the press secretary and to Donald Trump, and how off the chain even the questions were, the sucking up, if you will, the race baiting dog whistles that went on a regular basis in the briefing room. It was so insufferable. Um, let's watch this clip, and you'll
BLM
probably get a better
rioters
understanding.
had these jurors under immense threat and mainstream media. Frankly, many BLM rioters had these jurors under immense threat and pressure. Mainstream media, frankly, many news outlets here today are complicit here. They chose to ignore the autopsy report. They chose to ignore the full body camera footage. They decided to slander Derek Chauvin as a racist cop instead. Does the administration believe Derek Chauvin received a fair trial, and will they consider a pardon moving forward?
The president has been asked and answered this question. He said it's not something he's considering at this time. Philip.
Mm.
Yeah, so I was standing right. April and I was standing right next, shoulder to shoulder with this guy, and I know that sometimes I certainly don't have a poker face. And April and I were both wearing masks, so I'm not sure if it was that demonstrative. Our both, because even she turned her body to face him as he was saying this, because he starts out with Black Lives Matter rioters, he said. And so I asked him, and there's a story I wrote, it's on BlackPressUSA.com right now, about this guy, Elad. Elihu is his name, and he's from some small right wing media company called Timcast. And I asked him after the briefing was over, uh, what prompted that? And I asked him, is that something that he felt? Because the way he couched it, and obviously he felt that way because he said, and he claimed, I'm just a journalist asking the questions. I asked the question. That was a statement that you eventually asked a question as to whether Trump considered pardoning him. And I already know the answer to whether, the press secretary did say no, that he'd already been asked that. But there's a reason for that no. And I know the reason for that no. But he says, no, I was just, Trump supporters have said this. No, you said it. You said it. You have to own that because it was a statement. You called them Black Lives Matter rioters, right? You didn't say it, and nowhere we have the tape. Nowhere did you say some of the presidents or all of the president's supporters have called them Black Lives Matter rioters. You started by saying, and then you turned to mainstream media and said, you all are complicit. You said that these Black Lives Matter folks, what he said was they pretty much threatened the jury or intimidated the jury, is what he said. That's crazy. And so the answer to the question as to why Donald Trump is not getting involved in this is because Donald Trump cannot get involved in this. Yes, he has Chauvin pleaded guilty in the federal court, but you remember he was found guilty in state court. The state sentence is 20 some odd years and the federal sentence is 22 years, right? So even if he commuted or pardoned him for the federal offense, he would still be locked up in state. And Chauvin does not want to go to state prison. You remember he took the plea deal with the feds so that he could do his time in federal prison. He was very, very specific about that. He said so in court that he wanted to do federal prison instead of state prison. So if he pardoned him, they would take him out of federal prison and put him in state prison. And Derek Chauvin wants no part of that. And Donald Trump knows that. And Donald Trump is not going to do that.
Right. I think another point to highlight when we covered a story last week about certain words and names that they were removing. Another thing we have to, right, that go across the country, and they have all of their pundits, all from legislators to media, pushing out these talking points. This is one of their talking points. And so Donald Trump doesn't have to say anything because if they say it enough, it will become part of the agenda. He doesn't have to say anything. That's Project 2025. That's
Yep.
all the lobbyists and all of these think tanks. That's their job. So you're going to be hearing a lot more BLM rioters. You're going to be hearing a lot more conversation about Derek Chauvin because it's on their talking point list. And the more they say it, the more what they're saying will become a reality. And that's what we have to pay attention to. That's why all those people are in that press room because
No,
there's
it's
an
jam
agenda.
packed.
It's an agenda.
Yeah,
And it's
and
scary.
April made the point too that here we are 3 months in. Usually at the beginning of an administration, and certainly with someone like Trump, maybe the first couple of days. Now, granted, she's not having daily press briefings like Karine Jean-Pierre did. It might be once a week, it might be twice a week. But April made the point that generally the first couple of days you get this type of jam-packed briefing room. And then it becomes, it filters out. But 3 months in, and you have probably 30 people more than what the room can hold. It's it was so uncomfortable in there, and you got questions and statements from media like that, and you got a lot of I'm sure Joe Biden was sleeping at this time. This attack on Joe Biden is constant. I dare say that Trump has finally replaced Obama as the person he obsesses most with Joe Biden. Um, it is constant. And I sit there all the time. I stand there and sit there when we talk about it's so amazing to me. You won. You won. It's you have nothing to worry about Joe Biden. He just removed the Secret Service from Biden's kids
Hunter Biden
and
and the
the
daughter.
daughter,
Mhm.
yeah, or granddaughter, whatever. Um, the obsession with Joe Biden is it's incredible to me. You guys won. Carolyn Levitt, the press secretary, constantly bashed Joe Biden. They finally brought those astronauts home, and she attacked Joe Biden. Why not just celebrate the fact that those two individuals were up there for 9 months, didn't know if they ever were coming home, and they were able to make it home? Why not just celebrate that? It's like being shot, and then you have an operation, remove the bullets, doctor save your life, and all you do is talk about how you got shot.
Yeah, I mean it's intentional, and it's an agenda, and I mean I think that that's what we have to pay attention to. It's not just Donald Trump; it's Project
It's
2025.
Project
It's all of
2025.
those individuals on there, and they are pushing their agenda. That's the makeup. That's why the makeup of the room looks different. That's why you have all of these third class white right-wing media outlets in that room because they are taking over the government. They're taking over media. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
They're doubling down on policing. And so this is their agenda.
And you
And
have
and we have
oh,
to
I'm
pay
sorry.
attention to that.
And you have them so the discussion centered around there was three things that the discussion in the briefing room centered around yesterday was the Russia Ukraine peace talks,
Mhm.
um, the judges, yeah, Trump calling for the impeachment of judges, and she was asked, and I believe it was ABC News, um, asked, well, should every judge he disagrees with him be impeached? And while she didn't say yes, it was implied that you
Yeah.
have to agree and that he is, as he said himself a few weeks ago, he is the law himself. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, a whole lot of judges have disagreed with Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been convicted 34 times of felonies. Donald Trump has twice been um, he's twice been adjudicated civilly for sexual assault. A judge leveled a $500 million penalty and fine against him for business fraud. Um, so all of these judges should be impeached. I mean, it makes no sense. Listen, are you saying that and he is saying this, whatever he says should go unfiltered, unchecked. He's running the country like he runs his business, and we know, unfortunately for him and unfortunately for the country, this guy has filed bankruptcy, reportedly and allegedly like a dozen times.
So let's talk about the makeup of the press room. What's the percentage of let's start with Black people. What's the percentage of Black people in the room these days?
So I saw of course, myself and April. And April, of course, is there all the time. Jaren from the Griot, and of course, our girl Ebony McMorris from Urban One. And not sure who the Black woman from ABC News is, but that's it.
So about
So, so,
4%. So about 4% Black folks. 4 to
so
5%.
I named about five people out of what was about 100 some odd people there yesterday. So
Okay.
yeah.
And what about people of color? So let's take it a little higher up. We
All
did
right.
Black people. What's people
So
of color?
So Iliad was people of color, of course. You would consider him a person of color. Um, I saw maybe two Asian Americans. Um, and outside of that, and there was the other, yeah, there's another black woman. I forget her name. Very funny. We had a good time talking. She's a friend of Greer's actually, and she's a photographer. I can't remember her name. Greer knows her, but nonetheless, um, but that was it.
Okay, so
That
less than
that was it.
10%, less than 10% is people of color. What a drastic change.
Yeah, and you know, we're used the last 4 years anyway, we were used to a lot of black women walking around that White House. I mean, because the Biden administration employed a lot of black women, and not even counting Karine Jean-Pierre, the press secretary. Um, and it is pun or no pun, it's night and day,
Yeah. Yeah,
night and
we
day.
definitely have to pay attention to how they are definitely changing or attempting to change the narrative of how news is distributed and the things that we talk about in this country, which is another reason why shows like this, Roland Martin, Native Pod, what Joy and Jackie Reed are doing, these outlets and these voices are so important because they are definitely changing the landscape, the
Yeah.
thought process of this country, one stroke at a time.
And these folks are so angry. Again, and I think somebody mentioned in comments, uh, if I can just grab it right quick, about their anger. I don't see it, but nonetheless, they're so angry, Niele. These folks seem like they're mad with the world. And I just don't get it. I don't get it. It's like the world is yours right now. It's yours. Nancy Wall said they have too much hate in themselves. It's either that or just anger or both. I just don't. Maybe I'm not supposed to understand why people who have. I mean, you want, and they stand up there and they tell you that it was a mandate, which it wasn't a mandate, but and they'll tell you it was a landslide, and they'll tell you that overwhelmingly the American people support them. In that case, if I came here every morning and felt, Neil, that, you know, uh, 50% of, heck, 5% of Americans were watching us every day and supported us every day, I'd be happy. They're saying, 55, 60%, which I know is not true, but they're saying every day that that's how many Americans support them. And like Carolyn Levitt's like 77 million people overwhelmingly chose President Trump's agenda. No, they chose him. I don't think they chose his agenda, but nonetheless, you should be happy. It should be, you know, kumbaya. But
But
instead, we see,
we talk about this all the time though. Like they are their ancestors' wildest dreams. And the way that their ancestors control was through fear, intimidation, and bullying. And so they carry those traits.
yeah, do you ever see Donald
It's
Trump
not
smile?
far-fetched.
Do you
It's
ever
not
see the president
far-fetched.
smile? Have you seen him
Did
smile?
you ever see the slave master or the one that was on the horse while we was picking cotton? Did you ever see them happy? They are their ancestors' wildest dreams, okay? Just like we say we are our ancestors, they are too. And they carry those traits. We carry the traits of resilience, overcomers. They carry the resilience of, well, not resilience, but they carry hate, fear, intimidation. So we have two different spectrums. Like I always talk about the church, who we praying to. We pray. Same thing.
I think they may believe, when I think about it, they may believe that a smile, laughter is a sign of weakness, is a sign of vulnerability. And I say
Well, they
that
smile with each other. They smile with each other. When they leave
I
that press
I
room,
just
they
don't
go
see
and
it.
toast. God, they
Yeah,
say,
they
got
go,
them.
yeah,
They
got 'em.
smiling. They just not
yeah.
smiling at us.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Wow. I just, I said that because I remember many a time, a lot of people used to say that Joseph Jackson, the father of the Jacksons, Michael, Janet, etc., was a mean man or whatever and unpleasant. But he wasn't unpleasant. He really wasn't an unpleasant man at all. And I would say to him at the time, Mr. Jackson, you don't smile. You don't smile a lot. And his position was, he had a lot to smile about, but why should he show his hand all the time to people? That was his response all the time. And we would talk, and I saw him smile in the house privately, but publicly. So maybe there's something to that. Look, I don't know. I just don't know. I know we have a guest.
Yeah, so Stacy, we've been covering a tragic story that's happening down in Knoxville, Tennessee, that's not getting much media attention. Within a week's time in January, two Black men were murdered by sanctioned actions by the sheriff's department in Knoxville, Tennessee. And so we've spoke to David Batts's family. We've spoken to Devon Montez St. Germain's family with unanswers. Both of their murders resemble Breonna Taylor, Sandra Bland. And so joining us now is the Boots on the Ground organization that has been at the forefront advocating for justice. We have National Action Network member Reggie Clay. Welcome to Let It Be Known. You're
Yeah,
muted.
welcome. You're
You want to
muted.
unmute?
Hello, how y'all doing? How y'all doing?
There we
Yeah.
go. And by the way, folks, you can go back to our Instagram page, right, to watch last night's
Yeah.
really riveting discussion with Mr. Saint Germain's parents and his brother. So emotional, but so heart. It touched your heart to hear that discussion and to hear them speak about Davion. So you guys, our viewers and everyone else, you might want to check that out if you missed
Yeah,
it
we
last
also
night.
we also spoke to David Batts's
Yep.
sister. And we special thank you as always to Black with No Chaser and Angela Dennis for bringing the story to the forefront and helping us coordinate all this week this story to amplify it. And so, Reginald, like Stacy mentioned, we've talked to both families. We know that the district attorney has not been helpful in any of the cases, and she has decided not to file charges against any of the sheriffs that are affiliated or connected to both of these cases. So, where does NAN go from here in seeking justice for these two families?
Well, okay, first let me introduce myself. Like I said, my name is Reginald Clay. I actually am a videographer. I produce a show called They Don't Hear Us here in Nashville. Um, and I am a member of NAN. I was asked by President Cheryl Huff to accompany her to Knoxville because I knew very little about what was going on, but she wanted to get some coverage of this.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I usually sit in the background and just film. But because I am a Black male and I've been in situations where I've dealt with the police and it wasn't just a pleasant experience. It was never a pleasant experience. As I was sitting there listening to the family talk, listening to the officers talk, and I'm filming all of this, the whole conversation on both sides. I just, and this happens from time to time. That's why Miss Shirley, I think, takes me because the unexpected. I was behind the camera, and then as I'm listening to them go back and forth, and they're arguing, and then some people are laughing. I see everything through like a lens of a camera. Even when I'm looking at it straight up, I'm seeing their faces, and so I just interrupted the meeting and asked, "Where's the compassion?" The compassion for this mother who has lost her son a daughter who's lost her father, nieces and nephews that's lost their uncles, sisters and brothers who's lost a brother, a cousin, a friend. The community has lost someone. Where's the compassion? And I felt compelled to say that because I feel like that's what's missing. You know, it's almost like we on two, like we're all human beings, but it's like we're on two different sides. They view us a certain way, we view them a certain way. Uh, of course, I didn't get the response that I wanted from that. It was one black sheriff officer there. I think he was with the TBI or either internal affairs or something like that. And he went on to tell me, tell us that, he's black. He has a black wife and he has a black son. And I went on to tell him, but if your son was over here on this poster, you'd be over here with us
I
before
saw
that.
that video, by the way.
Yeah, I end up creating a video of my own that I put out. And that's that's what I was compelled to say. That's what the Most High put on my heart to say. It wasn't nothing rehearsed. It was like in the midst of that moment. And then when he went on to say, this and that, I said, well, okay, then let's look at the data. Let's go to how y'all look at things and how y'all view things. What's the data gonna show? And he went on to say this and that. But afterwards, we got together with President Cheryl Huff, and after she talked to Reverend Sharpton, she brought it back to us and was telling us that we need to put a chapter up there. So that's going to be one of our next moves, is to try to start a chapter in Knoxville, Tennessee, which I have. I'm all over the state. Like I said, I move around doing things in the state of Tennessee, and I know a few people that she was like, let's get these people together and let's start a chapter there and see what the needs of the people are.
Yeah.
We want to, when you're dealing with a system, the system is going to work the way the system works. We could try to, throw our input in there, but it's something about a system is like a machine. It's going to continue to roll and move the way it's supposed to, like a conveyor belt. When it gets to this section, this is your job in this section, then it goes on to the next one, and this is your job in that section. And regardless of what you put in, it's still going to run the way that the system is set up to run.
Yeah.
And
Reginald, I'm sorry,
yes,
let me ask you, the community there, how did you find that they responded? I saw the video clip you're talking about, but overall, outside of the lens of a camera, how have you noticed the response in Knoxville to the families?
okay, well, I'm actually from Nashville,
Hmm.
which is about 3 hours from Knoxville. But I deal with I'm in communication with an organization down there called the Community Defense of East Tennessee. And so with them being boots on the ground there, a young lady named Imani, she actually is my contact person down there to let me know what's going on and stuff like that. And she said that they're actually are the ones communicating with the family and then letting us know what's going on. So really, I honestly, like I said, I get my information third party, but I just know like that as a whole, the Middle Tennessee National Action Network uh is. I just received a message from Miss Huff. I think she's trying to get on, but which is our president.
No, we're working on getting her on. You can continue.
Okay,
We're working on getting her on.
and so through that, I'm able to really know what's going on because they are communicating. The criminal defense of East Tennessee is actually the ones that's, like I said, is in contact with them, and so I'm just trying to take the footage that I have and
Right.
put it out there so that more people can know about it. Because, like I said, I am connected in the industry, in the music industry and stuff like. And this is something that happens across the board. You feel what I'm saying? It's like if you know a black person, and I hate to keep saying black and white, but it just is what it is. But if you know a black person, some kind of way they've been affected by a negative relationship with the police department, with the sheriff department, with any type of authority figure that they have been placed over us, who, like I asked them, what is y'all oath? During that outburst, I said, what does your oath entail? Does it entail you protecting and serving us, or do you protect and serve the blue?
Yeah. Did you get a
Right.
response?
They wanted to shut down the meeting when I started talking. It started to go towards like, hey, we ready to get out of here because this is not what we signed up for. And like, I think by me being there and not knowing exactly what to expect, I was coming out of the emotions of just being in that moment. And so it was like it just turned into a lot of just back and forth, and then they started packing up. And as we were leaving, I still got content of some of the officers talking to the mothers and just wanting to hear how they said. And they were saying, well, this is a new department. Well, not a new department, but we've all been elected recently to this position. And we're trying to reach out to the community. And this is our way of trying to reach out. But we feel like the child are hostile and stuff like that.
Right.
It's emotions, but I see that our president,
Right.
Ms. Huff, has joined, so I'm gonna turn it
Right.
over to her.
I see, my initial question was, what does justice look like? And just hearing you talk, justice looks like starting a chapter to have more accountability in Knoxville. Justice looks like amplifying this story so that more people know about it. And so joining us now is Cheryl Huff, who is the president of the National Action Network where are you at? In Nashville, right?
Yes.
I think I saw you speak at one of the community meetings, and you were telling the sheriff's department that next time they need to come to the community instead of you guys always going to them. Was that you?
No,
I heard
that was Miss Jay.
Yeah, but can you speak to that? I know a lot of the community meetings. Is the sheriff's department afraid to come to the community?
No. So, good morning, everyone. Glad to be here. Thank you so much. I'm Cheryl Huff, president of the Middle Tennessee National Action Network, and I am the executive director for the region. So, we have now started a chapter in Chattanooga. We started a chapter in Memphis. We started a chapter in Jackson. And we are about to launch a chapter in Clarksville, Tennessee, and Knoxville. I've had several phone calls that have came my way since we was there for this incident. And so I'm going to do a town hall to bring everybody out, to have conversations, to see where everyone is and how we can be best effective there. And we're going to start at that point. Yes, there is an issue in Knoxville, and it's a bad issue. And when you don't say anything, then nothing gets done. And when I was there and I actually saw what was going on, the sheriff was sitting there as if, who cares? They just want to talk. And I can put a check saying, we did this, we did that. But then if we go away and let it end there, and then they won again. And see, what my whole mission is just to train people, do workshops, and let people understand what their rights are. Because once they understand and know what their rights are, and then they'll be a force to be reckoned with. Because right now, even by them bringing the the black guy that was sitting on the table with him.
one of the investigators, Reginald said he might have been internal affairs.
Yeah, he was the internal affair lead man, but he just a pawn in they little shuffle, because he wasn't saying anything that the family was asking. None of that, all of the stuff that he was talking about we didn't need to hear all of that, because none of that was relevant. And then when he got offended and said, well, I'm a black man and I have a black boy, that's something that they used to saying all the time. But I'm gonna tell you something that happened when we left out and went in that hallway. This man was ready to talk, and that white man pulled him away like, you don't have nothing to say. And so that's how they control them. We have a chief that's here in Nashville, chief of police, and he's only a chief with his color, because he makes no decision. He can't talk. He have a liaison that talks for him. Nothing ever happens. So that's what happens to us when we don't know what our rights are. Right. And I don't know if you all know attorney Courtney Teasley. She is she's an attorney here that's been an attorney for about 13 years, and she stopped practicing because now she's on the ground and teaching the community and people what their rights are. And I'm going to bring her with us to Knoxville so people will get a better understanding. You need to know how to talk to your attorney. You need to know how to write these complaints. One thing, a young man at that meeting, he asked a question. He said, did you get my complaint? The attorney affair guy said, I never got a complaint about this case. I don't have complaints. Nobody do any complaints. And what I tell people every time, if you get stopped by the police and they roll their eyes at you, go file a complaint. If anything happen, you have to file a complaint, because when National Action Network come in and say, I'm going to the office, the police department, and I want them to pull up that complaint that you filed, because now I want to know where it is and what happened. You can't say we didn't get it. Now you have to tell me what happened. But when you don't file complaints, and then that give them the scapegoat. Well, we never heard of it. Well, we never seen this. No one ever called and told us this. And that's what we're allowing them to do to us. But
to your point too, about complaints, for instance, the SWAT team that went in on Devon St. Germain, for instance, had there been enough complaints, perhaps that team would not have been together to go into the St. Germain home and do what they did.
Well, and that's absolutely true. But when you say nothing, you get nothing. Right. And that allows them to continue doing what they do. But when you put that camera in their face and you keep them on a front line and you demand, now they're going to have to step back. And what we have to stop doing is we have to stop filing lawsuits against the state, because that's our money that they're taking. We need to start filing lawsuits against the officers that did the wrongdoing. We have to start.
Well, there's the qualified immunity part, though, right?
That's for the state, but they have insurance. They cover them all. But when you start going after them personally, now they losing their homes, their cars, their wives getting mad, their husband getting mad, because you hitting them personally. And that's what we have to start doing. But education is knowledge. Education rules a nation. And that's what we do.
So tell us a little more about when you're holding this town hall, and is the sheriff's department invited?
No, the sheriff department is not invited. We don't need them. This is the community. And see, we have to stop want to be comfortable sitting at their tables. We create our own tables. Now you're going to come to our table, because if you want to hear what we have to say, you're going to listen to us in our house. We have to stop getting comfortable saying, well, they need to put us at the table. We don't want to sit at their table. We don't need to sit at their table, because they need to hear us. They need to hear what we have to say. And so we still in the planning mode. We haven't
Okay.
gotten it all together yet, but we're still in the planning mode. But I have enough people that are interested and the different organizations that's there. And I'm hearing about there's a council, a Black council organization that's there. And so I'm going to be connecting and talking with them also, with some more community members and some community leaders, and see our leaders. We have to understand what a leader means. A leader doesn't mean I'm a leader because I know this person and I know this person and I can get this person to come and do. A leader is a person that says enough is enough and I don't want no more, and this is what we're going to do. We have to change that narrative because
I
everybody.
love that. I love what you said there about the creating your own table.
Yes, sir.
Their table, their table. We've already seen where it leads to, right? At some point, and I know that the Reverend Al Sharpton is a very strategic individual. At some point, are you expecting him down in Knoxville, at the very least, to visit with the Bats and the Saint Germain family?
No, I haven't. I mean, we haven't even talked with him about the situation there because I'm going in to assess and see everything that's going on, understand what's going on. I just don't take stuff because somebody told me something or this is going on, and then I take it to him and say, well, you have to be here. No, I go in and assess it, see what we can do, put it all together, make sure everything is right, and then see, because some things we don't even need Sharpton there, but he knows about it, he hear about it, we put all of the information, and he say, well, when you need me, just let me know. And most of the time we don't need them because we can do it ourselves. And that's, again, when you educate your community, give them the tools they need, we don't even need attorneys. We can fight our own cases, but we have to come together and understand where we are and get that message. And once we do that, again, we'll be a force to be reckoned with. All of this stuff that's happening out here, everybody's afraid, oh, Trump is doing this, and what we need to do, sit back, regroup, put it together, know what we have to do, and then execute. That's what we have to do.
Are you in communication with the families and coordinating with them with everything that you're doing?
Yes, we've talked. Jay, that's on the call with us. That's her relative. That's her cousin, aunts, and all of that. And she also had a situation that happened with her, and hearing that, I mean, Murfreesboro with her son. So this is not new to us. This is stuff that's been happening. I had a case, and I had a case here in Nashville, and I'll just tell you this really quick. And this young guy, he was running from some more guys that were shooting at him. He gets out of his car and he runs to try to get away. And there was a security guard here. They were all in the building. No one was in harm. The man was running past to get away. And he was shot in the back of his head by that security guard. Security guard planted his foot, aimed his weapon, and shot him in the back of the head. He had his story, but now he was a security guard. He told his story to the assistant DA here, told his story that, the guy was aiming his gun and waving his gun at all of the people that was outside on the balcony that was eating dinner, and he had to get them all in, and he was protecting them. And when the guy came running towards their door, he had to shoot him to protect everyone. So they went with that story. And they believed that. But the young man's mother came from Michigan, and she talked to 26 attorneys. No one would take her case. No one would actually hear her. They just called her a grieving mother and said that this mother's just grieving, and no one would take her case. So she came to my office. We sat down with her and her mother and myself. And I took 4 hours talking with this family about her son. I heard stuff that she was saying. So I called an attorney And I said, can you please just look at this? Just go and look at it and make sure what she's saying is actually true. And if it's nothing there, okay. That attorney said, well, Cheryl, I'm going to go and do this. She went and she looked at this case. And don't you know, everything that was in that file was untrue. The camera, she saw the video, it was untrue. This boy was shot in the back of his head running. He was way down the street, past the restaurant and everything, and this man shot him. So we got her, got this case in front of a jury, because after that happened, they made him go and sign up for the police department. So the police, the union could protect him.
Right.
So he joined the police department. On his Facebook page, it was so much stuff about how to kill people, easy way to kill. And in his video, he said, you just plant your feet and aim your gun and you will get your target every time. And that's what he did. But because we were persistent and went in there and found that, now he did get indicted. He did lose his job and they did come after him. But some type of way, our black judge and the FOP and all of them, they all still work together. And this man was cleared. He was cleared after he went to trial and everything. The video showed everything. But what I saw and what they heard was two different things. And that's why they cleared him. So but we did get it out there.
I mean, I think that's a great example of how, to your point, if you stay persistent, if you stay at the forefront, if you resist, it happens. And we know right now under a Trump administration, you have no federal protection. And it seems like the state of Tennessee is not going to protect you. So it really is up to the people. And so we are so grateful to share your story, to help you amplify the story. And so how can folks get more information about National Action Network Tennessee?
So right now, they can go to my website, which is www.nanmiddletn.org. That's our website that's here in Middle Tennessee. And then once we start the chapter, you will know from that website, we'll put information on when we'll be there. We'll start putting flyers together and doing everything, because the cities that I go to that's in Tennessee are the ones that need us the most. Like Chattanooga, we have a whole center now, and it's right across the street from the housing development. And we're teaching people about building their credit, getting their credit right, getting their records expunged, getting their driver's license, getting these big highfalutin jobs. We're helping them with their mental. We have Miss Shanda, she's on here too. And they work with a young man named Benias, and Benias, he works with the mental status of Black folks. We need that, because they don't believe that Black people get sick. They don't believe Black people have mental problems. And so those are the things that we're working with. And we have a really good team of people that's all coming together and doing what we need to get done. And
Well, Cheryl Huff, we knew just in listening to you that you guys have a good team, because they have a good leader representing them in Cheryl Huff. Thank you so much for coming on this morning. Wish we had more time with you. Perhaps we will later, but thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Yeah. We spent the whole week on this story. For those just tuning in, there has been 2 deaths within a week's time in January in Knoxville, Tennessee. No national media attention around these stories. A 17-year-old and a 40-year-old male were killed by the sheriff's department in Knoxville, Tennessee. No accountability, no actions. Their families are crying for justice. And so, we're going to be tracking this story and continuing to amplify it as we seek for justice for David Batts and Devon St. Germain.
Absolutely. And I gotta say this, Nancy Wall, among the many things Nancy posted in the comments was, I love the statement too about the seat at the table. She goes, I'll tell you what I love most about this in a moment. She goes, we have our own table and they need permission to sit there. So now perhaps she meant sit, but I hope she meant sit, because that's how they say it. The sit there. So I love it.
Yeah, because one of
Absolutely.
the video that I saw where I guess they were at the sheriff's department, and one of the NAN members, I thought it was her, she was saying, next time y'all gotta come to us. We sick and
Yeah.
tired of coming to y'all. She was like, ain't nobody
Yeah.
gonna shoot you, ain't nobody gonna do nothing to you, but y'all gotta come to us. We not coming here no more.
Yep. Yep. There you go. And I saw that press conference that Reginald was talking about. So that was really, really interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, and going back to Donald Trump, there's no more federal protection
You're
for
right.
people of color. And so it's left up to the states. And then when you look at what's happening in Tennessee, it's going to get worse before it gets better. But to President Huff's point is that it's us, the people, who demand justice.
Yeah.
And so it's like we're starting from scratch again, begging the federal government to put sanctions over the states because we need it. But it's going to be up to us to continue to make justice be served for our people who are murdered by police. And that's why Black Lives Matter. We're not rioters, we're protesters.
And we certainly will, as more comes out of the situation in Tennessee, we certainly will be on top of that. I'm sure that that's a promise that we will work to keep. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Switching gears, Niele. Um, when I don't even know how to ask the question, but let me say it this way. We know that Kanye West has lost his doggone mind. We know that. But this type of black on black crime, we just can't tolerate. We just can't. We just can't. So y'all have heard me many times tell you how much I'm not a Jay-Z fan, because I'm not. But the attack by Kanye West, and then the double and tripling down on it, on Beyoncé and Jay-Z's youngest two children, is nothing short of disgusting. It is not something, okay, we can say, you know what? Kanye needs to fill his prescription, as David Youngblood says. Oh, Kanye, Kanye, he ain't right in the head. No, it's time to stop giving Kanye a pass. There are a lot of people, a whole lot of people with mental health challenges, a whole lot. They don't go around attacking people's small children, doing the stuff that Kanye West does. And he's just ranting about Kim Kardashian, and she, you know, and so here's why another reason why I'm so angry with Kanye West, because he makes me side with Kim Kardashian. If you make me side with her, I'm going to be angry. She moved to strip him of his parental rights because he invited the Tate brothers around their children, their children. So when you do, so she has every right to protect those children. The Tate brothers, if you don't know, even Ron DeSantis didn't want them in Florida. The crimes that they are accused of overseas is just as heinous as they get. The Trump administration has welcomed them. But this rant about Beyonce and Jay-Z's children, the 7-year-old twins, about their mental capacity. Are you kidding me? I mean, look what he writes there. He uses the R word. He alleges that this was a result of artificial insemination.
I mean, there were a lot of people who crashed out yesterday. Kanye is just one of many.
But he continues to crash out.
But
And they give him a pass.
Kanye has said a lot of horrible things, that he crashes out. I mean, I think what he said against Jay-Z and Beyonce is horrific. I know Mama Tina came on yesterday with the corny joke, and I think the joke was something like, what do you call a snowman that is disappearing? And she says, you call them a meltdown. And then she said, with all the things going on, with my family and things, she did a corny joke. So I think they all know that Kanye has some serious mental issues. I wouldn't be, I hope nothing happens to him, that he doesn't harm himself, because yesterday he was also talking about his mother. And if his mother wouldn't have died, maybe he wouldn't be acting this way. So he's definitely crying out for help. The things that he has said are, disrespectful, and but I don't think anybody is surprised by his actions, because there's something not there, and you could definitely tell the days he doesn't take his medicine, for sure.
Well, I'm with RNG. Just leave the kids out of it, And Mike V says facts, Niele. And yeah, I mean, you can't disagree with what you just said. There's no way to
Yeah.
disagree with that. But just as RNG said, this is my point.
I mean, but that's
these
you would
innocent
be talking
7-year-olds.
to a sane person to say leave the kids out of it. We're talking about Kanye.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but to your
And
point,
it's so odd though that if you remember when Michael Jackson, when he began to have kids, he covered their faces and he got a lot of flack for it with the mask and stuff like that. But when you see stuff like this, then you start to think, okay, I get it. I get it. Because the kids got to be off limits. Now, Rihanna and ASAP, they out there with theirs. They have shown the world their kids, But I can now more appreciate the fact that this dude, because I always felt Michael was doing it for attention for himself, more so than anything else. But then you get it. You get it. Why do you look like that, Niele?
because we're talking about Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is in a category by himself. So I mean, I
Yeah,
get
but
what
he
you're
loved
saying.
attention.
I
Michael
get
loved
what you're
attention.
saying, but I mean, like, they're extremes. Michael
Yeah.
Jackson's in the category by himself.
Yeah.
Kanye's in the category
Not-
by himself. But but in addition to Kanye, a lot of people crashed out yesterday. Yesterday was a wild day. You had
Yeah.
Tiana Taylor. She pulled a
Oh my
Just
God, Tiana
Hilarious,
Taylor.
and she went
She
in
went
on
off on
Iman.
Iman. Yes.
And then you had Jess and Lauren, Charlemagne the God, and DJ Envy. And then you had Big U. Big U from out here was arrested.
They did catch him.
He turned himself in. He put out maybe 4 videos on his way to turn himself in. And one of the interesting things that he said was he actually blamed a podcaster named Whack 100. I don't know if you're familiar with Whack 100.
Yep.
Very popular in the gang community. He's always calling out different people. And so Big U blamed Whack 100 and I think Adam 22 as part of the reason why all of this situation, these RICO charges and this mafia-like empire that he has started. Oh, there it is right there. Can we hear some of it? No, maybe not.
What they gonna say? What to say? I'm 21 years, elevated my family, come back, sit in here and write and do what I need to do until I can come back home. People are supposed to help me. I hope you help me. Hank, you don't worry about it. A lot of stuff y'all hearing is straight trash. And I appreciate the love and I appreciate people who've been helping me. I don't know. It's hard helping black people and not being hunted for doing it.
First Street, it might be I don't know if it's to the right or the left.
Reach out to anybody who can help me, y'all.
You hear me?
Help my own family. Appreciate you.
Listen, he's facing
No.
life.
Yeah.
I'm not turning myself in. I'm going somewhere in some sort of village in Africa. Somewhere.
Well, his son plays for the Chargers,
His
so
son plays for the Chargers.
he
Yes.
has a lot at a lot at stake. And
Yeah.
to be honest, Big U is there's a lot of controversy around him. Some people believe that he has something to do with Nipsey Hussle's death. So it'll be interesting to see how his Nipsey Hussle's murderer that was convicted. It'll be interesting to see if something comes out of that, because a lot of times what they do to our Black men is they'll bring them in on one charge, and then once they have them, they'll
I didn't
pile
manipulate
different
nobody. I didn't
charges,
steal
murder
nothing.
cases.
We did PPP loans. We did 2 loans. And that's it, just like everybody else did. I didn't use no fraud. I didn't give none of fake names. And one of them we was paying back and one they forgave. You know what I mean? And the other one we attempted for and they didn't give us nothing for it. I filed my taxes and them coming around telling me I was using development option as a cover. Cover for what? None of that's going to be true. None of that's going to be true. The government putting this big ass picture, they want to arrest 21 dudes. Some dudes I don't even talk to. I don't even know nothing about. So how the hell you going to lump me in with all them? But it's all the big picture though. It's all the big picture.
Here's the thing too.
Now
I get the videos, but and he's talking about as a Black man. As a Black man, the one thing that you gotta do, the one thing you gotta do when this stuff comes down like this is exercise your right to remain silent.
Oh, he
'Cause the more
crashed
you
out yesterday.
Yeah,
He
the
crashed
more
out.
you talk, I get what he's saying. Get what he's saying. Say it to a lawyer. Say it to Ben Crump.
Well, no,
Say it to
I think we didn't play the ones that, what he was trying to put out there to the streets was that WAC 100 and Adam
Mhm.
22 has something to do with that. Like I
Yeah,
said, he put out like 4 or 5 videos. He was like on his way to prison, like, I'm gonna get all of this out because I know I'm not gonna get me a phone
right.
for a few days. That's WAC 100, and he is very volatile in these streets. I know when the Marathon Burger opened, uh, Black Sam got into some type of argument with this gentleman, but it all stemmed back to WAC 100. And so I think WAC is going to have to watch his back from the left and to the right moving forward, because he's pissing a lot of people off in these streets.
Yeah, he has been. You're right, 100%. That much I definitely know about WAC 100, and
Mhm.
so
He's a problem.
Motown Mimi said. Now she wasn't talking about this case, but what she says is very true. Maybe giving grace for too long turns into enabling, and you just gotta you tamp it down. Tamp it
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
Don't tolerate. There are certain things you just can't keep tolerating. And yeah, and she's saying what I'm saying. That video would end up as evidence in his trial. And he may have not, he may look at that, and folks may look at, well, what did he say they could use against him? They can use what did that law say? What does that thing say? That right says anything you say will be used. Take out the can part, because they say can and will be used against you.
Yeah,
And so go ahead.
there's a really in-depth article on the charges in the Los Angeles Times. I read it yesterday. There's a murder involved that happened in Las
Mhm.
Vegas. Body
A
was
rapper.
found in the desert. So it's a lot attached to him. And if you look at those videos, he was almost crying a few times because he was thinking about what he was losing. I mean, he's very popular out here. He has a
Well,
little league camp to where he helps kids play football. He takes them to the
Mhm.
Chargers games. I mean, his whole life is crashed out right now.
Well, and to your point too about messages, and among the many he may have been trying to reach, because he's very much tied into Snoop Dogg, and Snoop Dogg, of course, is very much tied in with Donald Trump. So these are federal charges. Yeah, I'm
I don't know if him
speculating.
and Snoop are that tight. Just to be clear, I
Mhm.
don't know about that part. But
They definitely had some dealings
yeah,
on the
but they
business level for sure.
yeah, but yeah, Big U is in a category of his own out here in these LA streets.
Yeah.
Before y'all even knew that we was ever getting a divorce, not too much on my best friend. We're still doing this. We're still doing that. This is my buddy. This is my da 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 da. I've done nothing but try to protect us. So the fact that you are okay with the world thinking that I took you for everything that you had, have the world thinking that I tried to get you locked up, sitting here playing victim. Let me explain something to y'all about people. For people that's saying, oh, well, what would Iman get out of leaking these rumors that make him look bad? Some people are okay with looking bad just as long as you look worse. Okay? Y'all have to understand that. Y'all have to understand that. Before this divorce, during this divorce, and after this divorce, I protected that man with all I had in me. Before y'all.
Yeah, she crashed
Oh,
out.
you know, I always thought that, and I know coming from a man, it's not going to be surprising, but it's not from that lens, though. I always thought that she was the prize of the relationship.
No, Iman is fine. He's tall, sexy, and fine. So,
No,
they were a beautiful couple.
yeah,
Well,
no, but
he's a
not
basketball
just
player, so he brought money to the table.
oh, without question, he did. But how about just, yeah, Chris says, yes, he is.
I mean, I think they complimented each other.
Right. Well, see, what I'm saying is that Iman certainly, and I like Iman certainly when he played for the Knicks, and of course won a championship in Cleveland. Um, Iman is a basketball player.
And he's also a musician, and he was a
Well,
star character
later,
on The Shy.
right? Later. This is post him getting together with Tiana. I'm not saying she brought him up. I'm just saying that at the time of the consumption of their relationship, I shouldn't say that because it sounds like consummation, but the beginning of their relationship, he was just a basketball player. Um, but to your point, I guess, y'all would know this part better than us men. I mean, y'all say he was tall and handsome, et cetera, et cetera. So whatever. And I know Iman does, he does some modeling too, for that matter now too. So
Yeah, and I loved him on The Shy. Lena Waithe's The Shy. He was really good on
mhm.
that. He has a couple movies coming out. He was on College Hill. Tiana Taylor, she's a great artist, but I mean, I think they balanced each other out,
Yeah.
and it just didn't work out for
Listen,
those
I
two.
know many men went to see Coming to America too, simply for Tiana Taylor. So,
Really?
oh
Okay,
yeah,
that's
really.
news to
I mean, I've
me.
heard it. I've heard it's almost like years ago when Halle Berry won the Oscar when the whole Billy Bob Thornton fiasco
Look at that
and
beautiful couple. Beautiful kid.
yeah, and that's a shame. That's a shame. But my point of Halle was the one thing I kept hearing without seeing the movie. The one thing I kept hearing, I even had a buddy, an old buddy, say, well, after he saw the movie, he comes back, he goes, "Oh man, she gonna win an Oscar." I said, "Really? Her performance that good?" He said, "Nah, just for that one scene." Give me a break. Give me a break. Oh gosh, I mean, this
Well, I
is.
have a couple quickies for you guys this morning.
Well, before you get to your quickies, so I think we should mention the whole Jackie Robinson situation, the military story of Jackie Robinson, who broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball after serving as a
Uh-huh.
second lieutenant in the Army. Well, they removed his whole bio and everything about him from the website, from the Department of Defense's website, along with other Black people and women and those who are in the LGBT community. Um, Now they have restored after a lot. ESPN went on Jeff Passan of ESPN went on this crusade, immediate crusade. Like, what are y'all doing here? And they initially gave Passan the same response they gave all the rest of us was well, we're not doing the DEI thing. And Passan, like us, but Passan being a white man, that probably carried a little bit more weight with the administration. Passing was like, what does DEI have to do with Jackie Robinson? What does woke have to do with Jackie Robinson? This man, in Passon's words, is one of the greatest American heroes there is. And finally, the Department of Defense relented and restored Jackie's military career to the website. But it's just the awful minded people that women not. So we keep talking about they erasing Black history, which is what they're doing, of course. But they want to erase women's history too, whether they Black, white, Chinese, whatever. These people are insidious.
They're crazy. I mean, but if they didn't restore all of the other Black individuals and women, I mean, their
Right.
lives matter too, and their lives matter to
Exactly.
their families as well. So it's just like there's no rhyme and reason to how they're doing their practices of racism and white supremacy. I know they also mentioned that Donald Trump is tearing up Jackie Kennedy's Rose Garden. He said because when it rains, the grass gets wet.
He meant that, didn't he? Wait, say that again. When it rains, what happens to the grass?
The grass gets wet.
It gets wet.
That's what he
Wow.
said.
And so that's his reason.
That's his reason. Grass gets wet. So buckle up.
Leader of the free world said,
buckle up.
That's some breaking news type stuff. He said that he got to remove Jackie Kennedy's guard because when it rains, the grass gets wet.
It's wet.
Wow. Wow. All right, Niele. I never thought until, and I've never had any aspirations and will never have any aspirations for this, but I never realized until now that I am qualified to be the president of the United States.
Mm-hmm. You are. You really are.
In fact, I might be overqualified.
You are. You're that too. When you compare to who's in the White House, you're overqualified.
Go ahead with your quickies. Let's move
All right, so
forward.
let's jump into some Let It Be Known quickies. So a new scientific study proves worship can help you live longer. How about that? The research, according to a study by Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, suggests that faith-based practices could be a key to longevity. Now, the research tracked 74,000 women over a span of 16 years and found those who attended church services at least once a week had about 33% a lower chance of premature death compared to those who did not.
Well, Niele,
church is the answer to longevity. Okay, I'll be there on Sunday. Hands lifted up.
You trying to live long, huh?
All right, no comment on that one.
I asked you. I'm saying you're trying to live long, aren't you?
Yeah, I want to. I want to. Okay, and in another study, marriage is saying marriage increases the risk of women being overweight by 39% compared to single women. The study also found men are 3 times more likely to be obese than single men. So I guess marriage keeps you happy and fluffy.
I don't know. I guess I can't argue with the stats, but most oh gosh, I don't want to offend nobody, but a good woman don't want her man to be obese. She gonna get on him about his diet and exercise.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I'm saying from experience.
The study wasn't 100%. It wasn't 100. It was 3 times for the men and 39% more for women. That's all.
Dr. Nicole said to me not long ago. She goes, and I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, but she says, you're the right size, except the only problem is your stomach.
Okay, so see, are you following the trend?
And she said, I'm looking at you. She says, you got basically a nice build, but your stomach, If you could do something with that stomach, you'd be great. This is my sister. Now, of course, I'm sure Shanae agrees with that.
Well, hey, watch it.
She said,
Watch
she
it.
said
Don't.
Greer said he not giving up that McAllen. Listen, I went to your spot last night, by the way. The speakeasy at the Eaton. That's a nice spot.
Very much
I didn't,
so.
it's funny that Greer kept that a secret even from me all this time. She, because Eaton is one of her spots, so she knows the ins and outs. And we even filmed there. She never told me there was a speakeasy there.
Yeah.
And then she takes y'all.
Well, no, she
So
didn't
y'all
take
can go.
us. No, we
Y'all can go
discovered
help
it
some
on
white
our
women,
own.
save some white woman's life.
No, that was the speakeasy down the street.
Okay.
And but the Eden does have delicious Hennessy sidecars. Those things were yummy.
Oh, is that right? Hennessy sidecar. Is that what you had?
I had this Hennessy. I had a couple Hennessy sidecars. They were
Let's see,
good.
Shanae. What does Shanae have? She likes those smoky. What you call it? Old fashioned. She
Oh,
likes
old
the
fashions.
sidecars
Okay.
too.
The old
She
fashions are
said,
good.
Greer says Niele is definitely going to find her drinking food.
Of course. Of course. I want to
Wow.
know what the hot spot is in the city.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I will say before you move on, I will emphasize that speakeasy at the Eaton. If y'all haven't checked it out, y'all need to check it out and try to, make yourself an appointment or whatever because they do wait. The wait wasn't long, but you still got to wait.
Yeah, it's
Um,
very
so,
sexy and old schoolish. It's a nice
very old
vibe.
school. It's nice,
Nice
real
vibe. And the
nice.
art on the wall I love it. Love it.
Yes. All right.
All right. Couple more quickies. Wendy Williams scores a major court victory. Williams has been granted a move to a lesser restrictive living arrangement in her guardianship battle. So it looks like she's getting closer and closer to having her independence. I really believe that when Wendy was going through all of that, she just had a really bad drinking problem. Because remember in the documentary, they said they would find bottles in her bed.
Right.
So I just
Do
think
you
she
think?
just had a drinking problem.
Do you think she's gonna come all the way back?
I don't know if she wants to come all the way back, but I think she wants to dabble in and out,
Okay.
pop in and out,
Okay. Because
but
she's passing all these hurdles and she's doing great with the these
yeah,
tests and now that's awesome.
I think it was the alcohol. But we love Wendy. And even though we used to hate her going in on people, we used to love it at the same time. And nobody could do a read like Wendy Williams, okay?
Let me tell you something. I think I said this before. I had the privilege of being a guest on her show once, and I made sure to kiss up to her in a big way so she wouldn't go in on me.
No, you don't want her smoke. You don't want
No,
Wendy Williams smoke.
yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I remember having my daughter. I took my daughter to the studio with me, and Wendy's like, "Oh, she can't come in the thing." She said, "This is not for children." And so my daughter, she put her in this waiting room, right, green room, and the green room was filled with handcuffs and pink lingerie and all this stuff. Like, look at this room. Like, oh my gosh.
It's better than
My
being where
daughter,
you were.
listen, I'm like, what goes on back here? What you doing, Wendy? So, how you doing? So, my
All
daughter still
right.
remembers that. She's 30 years old, and I think she was probably, she must have been 10, 11 years old when I did the Wendy Williams show, and she came with me.
Well, last but not least, my former college roommate, Graham
Yes.
fam, Erica Badu is prepping for her first album in 15 years. And I know
Wow.
everybody loves some Baduism. I was roommates with her when she was Erica Wright at Grambling.
Erica Wright. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
Did you suspect? Did you ever get a sneak preview of the talent?
oh yeah,
she
we
had?
knew. Erica, when I tell you, Erica has not changed. We did a play together, Rumpelstiltskin, at Dunbar Hall, Grambling State University campus. We did a play called Rumpelstiltskin, and for about a semester or two, we were like thick as thieves. She used to live on North Campus. I lived on the campus, so she literally moved into my dorm on campus for about a semester.
Did y'all fight?
No, we
Y'all
went
got
to
along
Bayou
good?
Classic. We went to Bayou Classic together.
Because that would be a
We
great
had
story. You and y'all just went to Lowe's. That would be
Erica was
fantastic.
a flower child. You could drive down Old Grambling Road and find her in the middle of some daisies, just picking them. Erica has been Erica and been doing it since the end of the day, since the beginning of time. She's the same
Wow.
person she was at Grambling that she is now. And that's why we love her, because
Nice.
she's so authentic.
Yeah,
That's who
yeah,
she
that is
is.
nice. Okay. Wow. When I first saw that picture, at quick glance, I thought it was your other homegirl, out there in not Palestine,
Oh, you
Pakistan.
thought it was Nija.
Yeah, I thought it was your homegirl. You listen, you
I
still
can see
haven't heard
that in
from her,
that
huh?
picture. I can see that in that picture. No, we still looking for Nija.
Okay, all right. You're gonna let us know, I'm sure, when we find her.
Social media TikTok gonna let us know when she's found. I'm telling you.
Okay.
It's gonna
All
pop
right.
up like bam.
Yeah. So we got some Black History moments.
Okay.
All right. So on this date, in 1970, students went on strike at the University of Michigan and demanded an increased Black enrollment. The strike ended on April the 2nd after the administration agreed to meet their demands. And also, on this date in 1957, the diminutive one, the little guy, the little big guy, Spike Lee, director, producer, and writer, was born in Atlanta. He was born Shelton Jackson Lee. He became an amateur filmmaker by the time he turned 20 and would go on to create an impressive catalog of groundbreaking films, including She's Gotta Have It and Do the Right Thing. The latter, of course, centered on increasing racial tensions in the Bed-Stuy neighborhood of Brooklyn. And Spike was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay in 1990. So there you have it, some Black history moments. Got some women history moments. I know you do.
Well, yeah, it's Women's History Month. It's ticking down, but of course, we're going to amplify these Black women. In 1852, Uncle Tom's Cabin was published, but did you know it was written by a woman? Her name is Harriet Beecher Stowe.
Wow. Look at that.
So, yeah, I never knew that.
Yeah. I told you, give a woman a pen, she'll give you a novel.
Okay, there we go. And on this date in 1915, Rosetta Tharpe was born in Cotton Plant, Arkansas. She was featured in Life magazine and received a contract with Decca Records and was propelled into national prominence when she performed Rock Me with Cab Calloway and Cotton Club Review. I'm not familiar with her. Are you familiar with her?
She's probably the first prominent Black woman gospel singer.
Oh,
I'm
see.
surprised you're not in tune with that.
No. What's
That's
one of
one
her
demerit.
what's one of her songs?
I'm not a gospel fan. I just know that about her.
Oh,
So I could name
I'm
one
gonna have to
gospel
look that
song.
up.
You
Okay. Well, we celebrating these Black women's a few more days, and we'll definitely be amplifying them.
Yes, indeed. And our Black-owned newspaper of the day is the Philadelphia Tribune. The Philadelphia Tribune, the Philly Trib. It has a rich history of growth and advocacy that closely mirrors the nation's civil rights progress. It is the nation's oldest continuously published newspaper, which is from founded in 1884. So the Philadelphia Tribune continues today to be the newspaper that many in the greater Philadelphia region and beyond count on. So there you have it, our Black-owned newspaper of the day. Bob Bogle is the publisher.
Nice, nice. And for stories from any Black newspaper across this country, you can head over to BlackPressUSA.com, bringing you the headlines that are uplifting and impacting the Black experience.
Wow, pretty cool. So again, there was a couple of before we go, a couple of Instagram interviews we did this week. Niele with the what's the name of the family again?
David Batts' family.
Bats. I was gonna say Blatt. That's why I actually said the Bat family, David Batts family, and of course the family of Davon Saint Germain. So you could go back and check that out. And today's interview really helped to bring it full circle, if you will. So thanks, Niele, for all of that. And thank you all for tuning in to Let It Be Known. We'll see you again tomorrow.